Welcome to the Firehorse Podcast, where we talk to B2B founders and leaders about their real life experiences and wisdom on building, selling, and scaling businesses, and gain insights into what actually works across sales, marketing, go to market strategy, and AI. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, and I have to say this with a big smile because she is the first woman we have had on the Firehorse Podcast, which feels like a very fitting milestone. Ria Richardson has spent 31 years at the very top of B2B enterprise sales, building her career across IBM, Microsoft, Oracle NetSuite, and now as VP of Global Sales at Etter+Ramli, which is an independent Oracle NetSuite consulting firm serving clients across North America, Europe, and beyond. With over 350 CFOs and counting in her orbit and a reputation as one of the sharpest contract negotiators in the Oracle NetSuite ecosystem, Ria is someone who has seen the full arc of enterprise sales, from cold calling in the Philippines in the 1990s to navigating AI, layoffs, and the new world of B2B selling in 2026. Ria, welcome to the podcast. It's so great to have you here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be with you, Emily. And of course, to our audience. So, hello from Seattle.
Yeah, so welcome. So, Ria, 31 years in B2B enterprise sales is extraordinary. You started at Smart Communications, the largest telecoms and mobile company in the Philippines, at just 19 years old, fresh out of college, reporting to the CEO directly. Can you take us back to that moment and tell us what set everything in motion?
Oh, yeah. So, let me take you back to the memory lane. Way back in the Philippines, in Asia, as you know, the culture there is all about, 90% of Filipinos that you might probably know really have this genuine love for the family, you know, for the parents. And in my case, I'm an only child and I know that I will be a breadwinner. So if you're really asking me about, what sets everything in motion, it's actually the genuine love beyond myself. It's really for my mom and my dad. And just making sure that I establish the foundation fresh out of college to make sure that I get to get a good job. And the time, it was my college practicum. It was one of the electives, and I had to go through this company, which I am very, very lucky to meet the owner. His name is Dave. And yeah, everything just happened so nicely. He liked my work ethics, my promptness, the sunshine attitude, and offered me a job. I never thought that the whole family owns the largest telecommunications in the Philippines, which is Smart Communications.
From start to IBM to Dell to Microsoft to Oracle NetSuite, each move took you higher. What was the common thread that kept opening those doors for you, and what did you have to give up to walk through them?
Yeah, good question. So let me answer your first question. I think it is really the ability to make people feel special when they're around me. I know when I was still very young, my relatives and my friends will always tell me that, I know how to harmonize difficult personalities. When you're a child and you're with your neighbors and your relatives, somehow your aunt and your mom will really see who's leading the team, right? Or when you're playing around with certain personalities, my mom will always tell me that I have the ability to make people feel special. And through the years, working with the high tech US giants, you deal with very difficult personalities and very difficult schedules and customers, like left and right. So I think if you ask me, it's my ability to make people feel special and safe when they are with me. And that actually translates to, a lot of transparency and sharing when you are in a B2B space, like for example, IBM. The more customers tell you about the truth or the real requirements, the more that you can scope it outright and give the best proposal. So I think that's one, aside from my speed answering, my promptness. I'm never late. I have that reputation of, I always like tell everybody and myself that a 9 a.m. meeting is actually an 8 meeting, 8 a.m. meeting, and calendar it like an hour and an hour and a half ahead of time. Just because I am in Asia, in the Philippines, it's traffic infested. And going back to your second question, what was that again?
What did you have to sacrifice?
First is sleep. I think everybody in the room will really understand when you're starting your career fresh out of college, right? You'll never really realize that your ambition of being part of the global tech giants will really make you sleep deprived. You've got a lot of like 60 pages of PowerPoint presentations, notes, summary the whole day. And being in IBM, it's actually like a hardcore hardware, software and services global company. And you deal with 8,000, 14,000 very intelligent people across the world. And you're young. You're still inexperienced when it comes to the enterprise day to day. So one is sleep. You have to sacrifice that, and it will all be worth it. And number two, actually, it's really going out with friends. I remember my friends are actually the IBM friends. And until now, after, 28, 30 years, I am actually the godmother of their children. So they became my family, hosting them at home, cooking Filipino food for all of them. Even here in the US, they still visit me. And I always say, even in my social media, that thank God for IBM, because not only my network became so solid after 2 to 3 decades, but it's actually the family that I built from that organization.
Oh, I love that. Let's talk about AI, because this is where I know our audience is going to be really interested in your perspective, particularly. So, you've watched technology evolve for over 3 decades. Where are you seeing AI have the biggest impact on B2B sales and go to market right now?
Well, yeah, another good question. So every day in my life, I use AI, AI tools, right? I never thought that I will be a fan, when AI was still a myth, but now I am. In the business to business solution selling, enterprise, even small, medium, tech selling and marketing, anything that is repeatable and anything that is actually just out there on the World Wide Web, any data that is in there will really catapult AI to become better and better and better than humans. Why do I say that? Just like yesterday, I was doing my marketing banners, my campaigns, and it usually takes me a week because it depends on my mood and it depends on the calls that I have set for the day, right? And it gets to be very disturbing when you are trying to be creative and putting out, let's say, your own marketing story and narrative, and then suddenly there are four escalations or four new leads calls, and suddenly it will just disrupt my whole marketing mind. With a tool that I'm using right now, I just prompt it properly. What do I really need to see in the report or in the banner ad? Just after 4 or 5 minutes, done. I am like, man, after 1 to 2 weeks, I usually like have to wait for my marketers to produce this. But this is a 5 minute quick completion. And it's not just simple completion. I'm impressed. So if you ask me about the impact, anything that is marketing or repeatable, just like cold calling, right? I used to have 932 CFO lists in front of me, and I have to dial 400 a day, right? Thousands a week. And now that can be done through your AI, and it can even sound like Ria, like myself. Yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing. There's a question I really want to dig in with you. A lot of people in sales and tech, especially, are genuinely worried that AI is going to replace them. You've been inside boardrooms closing $5 million Oracle NetSuite deals. Do you think AI could ever replicate someone in that room, i.e., you? And where do you think the human edge still wins?
Yeah. I know that feeling and I know that global concern of workers like us. But I'll tell you this, being coming from the before COVID, the before AI, 2 to 3 years, decades before, one thing that I think AI will cannot muster is the word human gravitas. Human gravitas is something that we humans, the seasoned experts, has. It's your character. It's how the CFO and the board knows a certain seller. Like, let's say Ria Richardson, when she was still a kid, a dutiful daughter who has actually closed so many deals, who has been so kind to a lot of CFO and CEO who have helped the company from 5 million to, $100 million annual revenue. That's the character. That's the person the board trust. And if you have this multi-million-dollar deals, you wouldn't just trust in an algorithm. You wouldn't just trust a 900 pages white paper that the writer didn't lived, right? We experience a lot of things that in the boardroom you cannot even look at the AI and somehow touch the arms or kick the legs under the board that she's actually like messing up a 5 million implementation. You cannot fire an AI. So to me, the combination of that human character, the integrity, the familiarity to the persons that you serve, to the board that you serve, is something that AI cannot copy.
Absolutely. You've built a reputation as one of the most effective Oracle NetSuite contract negotiators in the industry. You've talked about renewal caps, approval matrix, discount levels that most CFOs don't even know exist. Can you give our audience one insight from the negotiating table that could save a business real money?
Yeah. Oh, it's actually a lot of lists and tips, but to just summarize about what I do in a very simple manner, I've met a lot of CFO, CEOs, finance leaders, small and medium business owners, not only in America, also in Australia, Italy, France. And one common trait that I've noticed is even the most brilliant chief executive officer, he doesn't know the contractual concessions that an Oracle or a Microsoft, can even give his company because he didn't ask. These are highly negotiable, purchases, right? That's why you're paying really big amount to a very good procurement director to procure wisely on behalf of your company. What I'm saying is you should really give or outsource your high stakes contracts, software contracts, to an independent advisor who has been in the room in Oracle or Microsoft or all these high tech giants, because there are secrets or insider tips that that particular person know that you don't know because you didn't work in the room, in the deals approval room of on Oracle NetSuite. And I have a couple or even more than 10, 15 companies who actually went bankrupt just because they really didn't ask for any price protection of their license contract. And all of a sudden they palpitate and had a heart attack when they need to renew, their price just went up to 50%, and they didn't really know what just happened there. So a case in point, you should really make sure that if you're a CFO, you have to protect your cash flow, your EBITDA, your bottom line. And with that said, it is always wise to ask and to get somebody who knows contracts negotiations, right? More because you're finance, but you're not really in the contracts, negotiation side. So yeah, outsource if you can.
Absolutely. You're running global sales across multiple time zones, early mornings for New York, late evenings for Australia, and you're doing a significant amount of your own outreach, LinkedIn email, thought leadership content. What does your outreach engine actually look like, and what's working best for you right now?
All right, yeah. The perfect question, because even now, that's our our agenda all the time with my founder, and the owners. I think the outreach campaigns, first I'll answer what's really working. What's working is still the referrals. So it actually bypass the first and sixth meeting before you close. It's actually just like one meeting. Then after 1 week, the deal is closed. I send the proposal just because we were highly recommended. And they listen, CFO to CFO, CTO to CTO. They just trust each other, right? So, and if you're highly recommended, they don't want to just think or doubt you. They just sign off. Now, it is not sustainable, right? Because you should have a pipeline every month and active leads and opportunities you have to work on for you to grow. So outreach is Reddit. The Reddit community is helping me so much. And of course, I have like internal, BDRs, marketers and partners who have their own CFO database, decision makers database, and they call, they email. LinkedIn is still very powerful, in my opinion. It can be really noisy and crowded, but if you know how to really like cut through with a powerful message that you do, then LinkedIn is still very good outreach and sales navigator. It's also good to have a dedicated AI, that we're talking about AI. It's always good to have an AI to do all these thousands of dials for you that a human person cannot muster because it's volume and velocity. It's all about numbers, and AI can help on the numbers game.
It certainly can. You produce white papers, articles, LinkedIn posts quite consistently. And you mentioned that Google Gemini is now practically knowing your whole entire career. How important has personal brand and content been to your pipeline? And what would you say to a sales leader who thinks they're too busy to invest in it?
Well, for one, it has to be your calling. I've dealt with a lot of managers like us. They're brilliant. They're very intelligent. They know their stuff. But to be consistent is a different level, right? I call it the elite level. The successful businessmen I've seen are very consistent, no matter if they're having or nursing a heartbreak or just going through a divorce. They're very consistent in making sure that in this world of AI and very, very, very highly competitive now, right? You are competing with, let's say, 300 consulting firms just in the US, 300 consulting firms who have been there and done that. They're so big. What will make you stand out? You cannot just stay at home and pray to God that when you dial for 100 CFOs, they will just come to you and believe you. No. People are always on their social media, and you have to build your authority, your credibility. And when people see, let's say, for example, you always say that you are the expert in terms of running financial systems. You have to show that you're really an expert. You have to make sure that you give out opinion that you think your audience will always ask every day, but they don't have the answer. I mean, just as simple as telling everyone how you answer a particular niche of questions, that will really put you on top of their minds. Maybe not now. Maybe they just see you like they visited your page. Oh, there's this girl who actually answered something that I really don't know for a year. Even my consultants cannot answer. But, you start to plant your authority on their minds. And one day, they will call you. Or a friend will really tell them that, hey, did you see Ria Richardson talk about price protection? It's possible. So build your authority. I know time is very hard, especially these days, right? Of how busy you all are. But it is so worth it that it will really bring you to places, building your brand,
Yeah, building your own personal brand.
personal brand.
Hmm. So you've spent 31 years excelling in a world that has not always made it easy for women. I know that firsthand,
Yes.
especially at enterprise level. So, what do you want other women listening to this who are in B2B sales or tech or just business to know about building longevity and a career on their own terms?
On your own terms. I love that. I think For me, what really works for, as I said, right, 30, 31 years and counting. And I don't see myself stopping even in the next 5 to 10 years. It's always doing the right thing, not for you, but for the other parties.
Mm-hmm.
I think selling and marketing is life. It's life. It's selling is not just in the enterprise. Of course, it's very highly complex, but selling is a part of life, right? I mean, just yesterday, I was just telling my husband who will bring, out the trash. I mean, it's always that negotiation, even at home. And to me, what's truly working is when I meet a certain person, or I meet Emily, or I meet Dave, a CFO who's struggling, when it comes to his projects. I always ask myself, how can I truly help this person? Right? If I cannot help this person, I'll probably just endorse him to somebody I know who can help him, because persons spot fakers, right? I mean, you know who's faking it. But your heart will melt if you find somebody who is so authentic. And you see her title, like global sales, customer acquisition, and never even talk about selling to you, but helping you. That will bring you to a lot of things that you've never imagined. That will open up 10, 100 of new friends, right? That will be a thankful client. My goal now and always when I was still starting at 19 is I always say to myself, what will bring me good karma?
Mm,
And I follow that route.
I love that. I also abide by that, but I'm going to remember the way you've said it.
Yeah.
So, on the topic of women empowerment, you've talked about building out Ria Richardson as an elite level independent brand, expanding beyond Oracle NetSuite into Microsoft, Salesforce, helping CFOs across the board understand what's really inside their contracts. So, what does the next chapter look like for you with relation to that?
Yeah, I've been doing the contract negotiations on behalf of business leaders, right, from small, medium, and conglomerates. I mean, for more than a decade, because I was in that room. I was given the opportunity in Oracle, and NetSuite. Before NetSuite was bought by Oracle, to run deal approvals, justifications, and bringing all this pricing commercials to the president of NetSuite or Oracle or the VPs to approve it. And in Etter+Ramli, the company right now, I've been really doing this for the past 2 years, just focusing on, having 5, meetings a day, and just talking genuinely to finance leaders or business owners that, hey, do you feel that you're overspending, right? That you're paying the systems more than you should. And 99.9% they will say, yes, I feel that, because it's true. And I tell them, because it's real. Your gut feel tells you the truth. And then I will just, walk them through and eyeball the contracts. So to your question, the more audience, the more business owners that I help, another 10, another 30 in the next, let's say, 12 months, will not only make me more credible, but it will give me a lot of learnings, because it's very different. Some just have 10% discount, some have 59, some have been paying for 5 years but don't have any price protection. I also learn. And with that learning, I will do a lot of white papers and tips and guide. And as you said, right? The elite level to me is making sure that I expand beyond the Oracle NetSuite, license contracts. Because can you imagine how many software brands, SaaS companies who are inside, let's say, a certain organization? They're using CRM, HR, payroll, right? Not only financials, even their own, lead generation and legal compliance. There's a lot of software in one country. It can be 17. And can you imagine if across that 17, across the board, I'm able to give them 40%? That's millions of dollars that they don't even realize that they can have. No, and contracts and software offerings are almost the same. Even the terms inside the contracts. You just need price protection, right? You don't want that inflation. So what is the language that you need to request the vendor to have? Then if there's financing because you are just taking care of your cash, you don't want to pay $1 million to 17, software and not making your margin. So to me, it's all about bottom line. And to me, it's all about expanding beyond the brand, right? For me, I want to be the business cost savings whisperer of business leaders, not only to save on costs, but also to make sure that their system is lean and it's not, over scope. They can be very productive day to day.
Well, if any of our audience want to follow your work, get in touch, read your articles, and explore working with you potentially, where would be the best place for them to find you?
Oh, very easy. Just type Ria Richardson on LinkedIn and you'll see hundreds and hundreds of, blogs, videos, video shorts, and even, my 35, 40 glowing recommendations about how I work from my customers, even staffs and partners. So I think that's very important. You'll see the day-to-day, value that I give to the world on LinkedIn.
Amazing. And I'll drop the link to her LinkedIn below the video as well. Ria, this has been a really brilliant conversation. And I have to say, for our first ever woman guest on the Firehorse podcast, you've absolutely set the bar. 31 years, boardrooms across 3 continents, and a perspective on AI and human selling that I think every sales leader needs to listen to. And thank you so much for your time and energy. It's been an absolute pleasure. And to our audience, thanks for listening, and we hope to see you again next time.
Thank you, Emily, for bringing this forth to the business world. I know you will be appreciated. Thank you, guys.